Here's Colton Mitchell. 2 seconds left. Mitchell puts it up. Scores! Colton Mitchell wins the game for the Vandals. They have upset Northern Colorado on a Colton Mitchell 3 to win it.
Hello and welcome to This Week in Big Sky Basketball. I'm your host, Megan Robinson. The Portland State Men are one of the hottest teams in the conference right now. They've won 9 of their last 11 and are sitting in third place in the Big Sky standings. The Vikings have a big road trip to Montana this weekend to take on the Grizz and the Bobcats. Joining me now is head coach Jace Coburn to discuss their season. Coach, you've won 9 of your last 11, including 3 straight after that loss to then undefeated Northern Colorado. What shifted for you in the last few games since that loss?
I think it's just, our guys really coming together, being excited and embracing roles and really just wanting to play together and for each other. I think that's one thing our team has really got going well for us right now.
In your last 11 games, your defense is holding opponents to less than 60 points on average, 37% shooting. How does such dominant defense impact your offensive game planning?
Our defense has been really good as of late. We made some adjustments to some things and it's really worked out well for us because I also believe that it's about putting our guys in the best positions to be successful defensively too, not just offensively, and they've really embraced that and they understand that, our defense is going to lead to our offense. So, we'll continue to get after it and make adjustments as we go.
One of the players that has been really instrumental on your defense is Jalen Henderson, although this weekend he had 31 points in that win over Idaho State. What was it like watching him have an offensive breakout performance?
Yeah, we knew that, he's fully capable of having a breakout moment at any given point during a game. And as of late, he's done a really good job defensively for us. He's had to sacrifice some offense, and he's a true team player. So he's tremendously talented on offense, but he's also really talented on the defensive end too. So, there's been a couple games where he's had to focus for us to give us the best chance to win on the defensive end, and he was willing to do that as a great teammate. And the other night, he played really well. So on the offensive end, and that's a great thing about our team. It could be anybody on any given night. And I think that's what makes us a really tough matchup to play against.
You've recently said that what you're most proud of about your team this season so far is their progress. What specifically about their progress makes you proud as a head coach?
Yeah, we've really tried to, I know that we're on this 9 wins in the last 11 games or whatever, but I think one thing that we've tried to keep in mind is just make sure that we're progressing every single time we hit the floor. It's about a process, and it's not necessarily about the wins and losses. That's probably the thing I'm most proud of our group is we've been able to focus on the right now, not worrying about what happened yesterday, if it was bad, or not being content if it was good. And then at the same time, not worrying so much about the future or the next game after the next one. Like we've just kept a really good view on, focusing on today.
Looking ahead to this week, you face Montana on Thursday, half game behind them for second place in the conference. What has been the focus at practice heading into this key conference matchup?
Obviously we know it's a big game, and it's always going to be a big game for me because, I have the most respect for Coach DeCure. He's one of the best coaches to ever coach in the Big Sky. So to be able to get out there against him is awesome. To be able to go up against one of the best teams year in and year out in Montana, in Missoula, it's a great experience for our guys and a great experience for our team. But I think ultimately we just need to, focus on the details, focus on the small things that are actually big things, and just go out there and compete and give it our best and play hard. And, hopefully the rest will happen for us.
You also face Montana State on Saturday. I know you're saying that you don't look too far ahead. You're only focused on the here and now. But what would back-to-back wins in this big road trip to the Treasure State mean to your team?
Yeah, I think you said it at the very beginning. We got Montana on Thursday, but Coach Logie and that staff, and Coach Payne and Coach Scholl, they do a tremendous job of coaching those guys, and we know that they're obviously really talented, and they got a lot of really good players. And they made it to the NCAA tournament, and we'd be facing a team that was just recently in the NCAA tournament. So we know it's a big trip for us. I think we'll be up to the challenge. Like I said, we're not too focused on the wins and losses, and the wins have been coming, which is great. But ultimately, we just want to get better every day.
Weber State's Kendra Parra scored a career-high 30 points on Saturday, helping the Wildcats secure back-to-back wins. She joins the show next. Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Basketball. I'm Megan Robinson, joined now by a Weber State Wildcat, Kendra Parra, who had a career night, 30 points in that win over Sacramento State. Why were you able to have such a dominating performance on Saturday, Kendra?
Yeah, I think I was just taking the shots that were open to me, and I was, I set my feet. I had good shots. I had good teammates setting screens, and they were always hyping me up.
You talked about your teammates. You said after the game that Antoinette Emanopu helped with your shooting. How did she help you get those shots off?
Yeah, not only in the game, but in practice, she's always encouraging me. Even if I miss a couple shots here and there, she knows that I can knock them down. And specifically in that game, she did have a lot of points that game, but she was telling me in my ear, like, oh, like, I'm not scoring a lot, but I'll set you good screens and I'll get you open. And then when she picks and pops, like, she'll be open for that.
Again, it was a career high for you in that win. What does a performance like that do for your confidence as a shooter?
Yeah, so honestly, I didn't even realize that I had that many points until one of my teammates on the bench was like, oh, like, do you know you have this many? So I honestly didn't even realize, but it definitely boosts my confidence a lot. I've been putting the hours in the gym, so it's really nice that it's coming together.
Big picture, your team won both games this weekend, defeating Sacramento State and Portland State. How do you build on that going forward?
Yeah, we had a tough week at the Montanas, so we came in, we didn't want to think about the 0-2 we had that weekend, so we came in a different mindset. We put a lot of work in practice. We worked on the press. We need to work a little bit more on our turnovers, but I think we came in the week, good mindset, positive mindset, and we knew that we could get 2 wins.
Like Coach Jackson, you are in your second season at Weber State. How have you seen her sort of start to transform this program during your time at Weber?
Absolutely. She's a lot more comfortable this year. I feel like maybe she was a little bit nervous last year coming in with the new group, but this year totally different. She's very confident in what she does and what she teaches us, so it's really nice to see that.
You played against her at your old school before transferring to Weber State. What's it like now being on the same team with Coach Jackson?
Yeah, it's nice. It's fun. When we played against each other, we talked to each other on the sideline before and after the game, so that was nice. And my assistant, Coach Mac, she went to Adams State, which is where I'm from. So me and Mac kind of have that connection. We've known each other for a while. She was actually my camp coach at a camp at Adams State that I attended. So I've known Jackson Mac for a couple of years now. So that's really nice to know them.
Looking ahead to this weekend, you face Idaho and Eastern Washington. What challenges do both of those teams present?
Absolutely. I know they've been seeing how many turnovers. Our turnovers are a bit of Achilles heel right now. So I expect them to press and, have ball pressure. So we're just going to have to focus on that in practice this week and take care of the ball during the games.
How do you clean up those turnovers so they're less of a problem in these 2 games?
Yeah, it all starts in practice. You practice how you want to practice harder than the game. So the game seems a little bit easier, but Jax has been doing a good job with that. She makes us go against a 6-man press in practice. So we've been getting a lot of reps at going against, more defenders so that week it could be harder in practice. You get easier in games.
Golf season is back in full swing, and Sacramento State was voted the Big Sky preseason favorite. Hear from the Hornets head coach David Sutherland after the break. Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Basketball. I'm your host, Megan Robinson. Golf season starts next week, and the Big Sky preseason polls are out. Sacramento State was chosen as the unanimous #1 selection after winning last year's tournament. Here to discuss the upcoming season is Hornets head coach David Sutherland. Coach, Sacramento State was the unanimous favorite in the Big Sky preseason poll. How do you feel about your team this upcoming season?
Great group, talented. We have another good team. Uh, Very dedicated. Also, just wonderful gals to be around. Golf is a sport where we travel in such small groups compared to many other sports that, the relationships are just awesome.
You said you love your team, a lot of veterans back from last season. What does it mean to have so many of your ladies return for 2025?
It's actually been really amazing in my program. In a day where you have a lot of transferring and the world of college athletics has changed a lot. I'm so far here at Sacramento State, really haven't changed much. We really have just these great relationships with these talented golfers and wonderful people. And so I'm super thankful. We have gals on our team this year that have been playing in the conference. They've won conference championships. Other gals have, and they've remained incredibly dedicated to our program. And as a coach, in this day and age, you probably appreciate that even more than you did 10, 15 years ago, where it was a little bit more normal. And so, yeah, it means a lot to me beyond just coaching on a personal level, to have gals this talented and then really embrace the Big Sky experience.
You are in your 17th season as head coach of Hornets women's golf.
I know. I lost a bet. I mean, unbelievable. Yeah, I know. I'm feeling very old at times.
But you're still in it. You must still love it to be doing it for 17 years. What's the best part of going into work every day?
Oh, by far the relationships with the kids. I mean, I got girls I've coached who have children now that her kids call me grandpa, and I'm very okay with it. I love the relationships I have with the gals I coach. It's just, and then also the relation. I've had Cindy Lightford, and I have coached together for 10 of those years, and certainly I'm so thankful anytime you're head coach and you have a person like Cindy who's so talented and willing to give so much of her time to a program and then be able to do it together. It's been just amazing. It's like those two things, and then whatever else is after that is not really that important. Quite frankly, those relationships are amazing.
Your Hornets have won 4 of the last 5 available Big Sky titles. What is the key to sustaining success for so long?
Well, just having good players. I mean, there's only so much you can do as a coach. I mean, when you're on a golf course doing a thing, you're really, they're the ones doing the heavy lifting. It's hard to win. There's going to be some luck involved anytime you win a tournament. We've had a few that were very, very close. We've lost a few that were very close, I should say. And the Big Sky always has talented teams. There's a depth of talent in the Big Sky now that just didn't exist 15 years ago. And so, but the credit really goes to the gals that have, put the hard work in, competed, and that goes to the other teams that have won, that really any team that has success, it's because of the players. And the coaching, you kind of like point everybody in the right direction. You certainly do the recruiting and you try to identify the players that you would like to have in your program. But at the end of the day, those championships were won by the gals within that program at that time. And then you're just sort of enjoying it along with them.
Coming up, we go inside the Big Sky with analyst Colter Nuanez. Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Basketball. I'm Megan Robinson, and we're going to go inside the Big Sky with Colter Nuanez, brought to you by Visit Pocatello. Colter, the big play of the weekend in Big Sky Basketball was, of course, Colton Mitchell from Idaho hitting that three-pointer at the buzzer to hand UNC their first loss of the season. What do you think of the job that Alex Pribble is doing in his second season in Moscow?
I'm not surprised that Alex Pribble has done well early on here at Idaho. He's from the Jim Hayford coaching tree, which is basically like the Randy Bennett coaching tree. I think the fact that Pribble is a good young coach that comes from a good coaching tree, good concepts and all that, but also that Idaho has this beautiful new arena that's such a boon to recruit to. And the fact that Idaho, before they fell on hard times, was really, really good. I mean, during the Don Verlin days, Idaho is always competitive. So they have some recruiting advantages there. It's a cool environment to recruit to. And I think Pribble's a really good young coach. And I think that's affirmed by the fact that they've been in it with the Montana schools in their matchups already, and then they just beat the last undefeated team in the league.
Another team in the Big Sky men's side that has been, I don't know if I want to say flying under the radar, but I guess you could say that a little bit, is Portland State. However, they've won 9 of their last 11, a game or a half game behind Montana for second place in the conference. They're heading to Missoula this week to take on the Grizz. They've struggled a little bit on the road, though. So what will it take for Portland State to get that win in Missoula? Everybody
right now in mid-major men's college basketball has experienced serious roster turnover. That's just kind of the way that it is this day and age. But Portland State had as much as anybody. I mean, they only have a few familiar names on their team. Most of the team is new, but I think they've coalesced pretty darn quickly. And even if the faces are new, the style is the same. Jace Coburn loves to play this sort of chaotic style. He loves to press and push the pace. And that's always been a really interesting matchup with Montana, regardless of the games in Missoula or Portland. Throughout the years, Portland State has been a thorn in the side of the Grizzlies because they like to push the pace. They like to get up and down. And Travis DeCuire, Montana head coach, he favors more of a sort of methodical style. He likes to run set plays out of the half court and certainly get after you defensively, but they're trying to extend, elongate possessions, I should say. And I think it's just contrasting styles. So I think it should be a really fun game in Missoula on Thursday.
On the women's side, there's another second-year head coach who's making strides with their program, and that is Weber State's Gentile Jackson. They've already matched their conference win total from last season. How would you assess the job that she's been doing in Ogden?
I think she's a great fit. I often think a lot of times schools lately in all levels of hiring, they gravitate towards like the biggest splash or the person that's coming from like the most quote-unquote big-time program. Gentile Jackson's the opposite of that. She was at Westminster for a long time in a variety of different fashions, which is also in Utah. But I think that the fact that she has some small school experience is a really good thing. And I also think the fact that she's from Utah is a really good thing too, because I've always thought that at Weber State women's basketball, if you just recruit the best players from the area, you're going to be pretty good. And that's by and large what Gentile Jackson's done. But I think it's good for the league if Weber State is better, and that's evidence. I mean, they already, like you said, as many league wins as they had a year ago already this year. So I think they're certainly a much improved team.
Arguably the biggest name in Big Sky women's basketball this season has been Sophie Glancy. She ranks 7th in the nation in double-doubles, nearly averages a double-double, had 28 points in their weekend win over Idaho. What makes her such a dominant player?
Oh, man, so many things. If you looked at that box score against Idaho, she finished with 28 points, which is a lofty total. She had like 21 in the first maybe 15 minutes of that game. She made like 9 of her first 10 field goals. She also had 4 blocks to go along with it. I think she is like a high major level talent. She was the preseason MVP in the league, and I think that often comes with a big target on your back, but she's lived up to that. It has not affected her at all. She's unbelievably efficient around the basket. She establishes her presence in the post better than anybody in the conference. She runs the floor really well, and she's a great defender as well. So I think she is absolutely one of, if not the best players in the conference right now.
Can't talk about the women's side of things without mentioning Montana State. They won round 1 of the Brawl, are riding an 11-game win streak. Coach Binford said that they are very much aware of the target on their back and that people are coming from them. How do they keep finding ways to win with this target on their backs?
Well, first of all, I think they have the best role definition of any basketball team in the Big Sky, men's or women's. They have multiple players that are coming off the bench right now that started. I mean, they have 3 players that are coming off the bench right now that have started in past years at Montana State. They also, though, have this unflappable poise. Their poise and how steady they are is super, super impressive. They do not ride the emotional roller coaster whatsoever. I think this Bobcat team is one of the best stories right now in all mid-major college basketball. I think they're going to be probably getting close to the top 10 of the mid-major poll this week once that's released. Their net ranking right now is like 58. They have multiple quad 1 and quad 2 wins. So you're talking about, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but you're talking about a team that right now, at this exact moment, has an at-large resume. Will that sustain? I don't know. I think they'd probably have to run the table in the Big Sky, which I think is asking probably too much. But I do think that they are living up to the hype, and they're certainly one of the most fun teams to watch. If you have not seen Montana State and you're watching this, check them out on the ESPN Plus stream or go buy a ticket and go watch them because they are quintessential team basketball.
Coulter, thank you so much for your insight this week. And if you want to hear more from Coulter, he hosts Around the Big Sky Women's Hoops with Krista Redpath Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, and Around the Big Sky Men's Hoops Thursdays at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, all on Skyline Sports. So be sure to go check that out. Thanks so much for watching another episode of This Week in Big Sky Basketball. Once again, I'm Megan Robinson. I'll see you guys next Wednesday.